The morning and more in the evening, it's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie. He's BTC Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening, it's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How is everyone doing this fine day? It's Tuesday? That's it. Yeah, we're there. How's everyone doing? Are we winning? Are we crushing the market? Are we all just sat in the TRB order books staring at the 1 second chart like the degenerates that we are? Because that's been most of my day. We are so back. Hello, Adam Millionaru. Hello, Cars001. Hello, Trader Frank, my friend. Hello, Crypto Guap. Hello, Muzi, Orangtang. All the legends here. And of course, Lewin of Flow. What a legend. Waiting for BitBoy to purchase some TRB, yeah, and then get it repossessed, and then go on a stalking mission and get arrested doing so. What a tasty bit of drama we've got. So, I'm not going to spiel for too much. I'm just going to say thank you very much to Bluefin for sponsoring the stream. Go check them out. I have a referral link below. They are a wonderful up-and-coming decentralized exchange, and I am proud to be partnered with them, and I am registering a hopefully public challenge account with them there. So that will be something to look forward to in the coming weeks. I think they're just migrating over. And once that's sorted out, I will be hopefully doing a public challenge of some description on a decentralized, very publicly visible exchange, which will be nice and good. Imagine that. Imagine publicly trading. But yes, I have a very special guest tonight, PostyXPT. We've known each other for a long time. We've ground out some of the bear market together, enjoyed the joys of the bull together in 2020, 2021, and have kind of been slowly killing it, I'd say, over the last couple of years. So yeah, Posty, do you want to jump on? Do you want to unmute yourself and say hello to the chat?
Unmuted, ready to go.
Let's go.
How is everyone?
What's up? How is the volume?
I mean, it's been a long time since I've actually been on a live stream. The last one could have actually been during the bull market.
You reckon?
To be honest.
So what
Yeah,
you were doing?
So.
You were shilling the top, like, "Hey boys, it's cool going to infinity." That's what I was doing.
Yeah. 100k plus minimum.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Keep the head down after that.
Yeah, 100%, man. No, I mean, I remember, like, I always say it to people, right? I said, I shilled Rune at like 3 cents. I shilled Rune at $20. It was the same value proposition, but one was the bottom and one was the top.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Fundamentals didn't change.
no, no, exactly. The fundamentals are still the same. You can still like have those, unwavering loves for projects, but actually, what has changed massively is the price, the environment in which you're trading, and generally people's returns. I'll put a tiny bit of background music on just for people, so there's a little bit of, probably a bit funky, isn't it? We'll do that, just so there's a little bit of background for people. Can everyone hear Posty? Yeah? Or are you just listening to me chat to myself?
I hope so.
Yeah, they just sat there going, what the fuck is this guy on about? What's Charlie doing? Yo, yo, hash, hash. Is there a delay?
Actually, lost your mind.
Yeah, just watching a live mental breakdown of BTC Charlie. Just like...
Could be worse.
Just
It
like
could be Ben
BitBoy.
Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got my Lambo Posty, actually?
You have to come and get it.
Yeah, I will, mate. I'll be out there later with my mistress, getting arrested.
And then you'll knock on and run away. Playing Knock a Door Run. That was
Yeah,
an
nice.
interesting clip to see, for sure.
Yeah, it's absolute nuts. But I mean, credit where it's due in one respect. That I tweeted it this morning actually that he has got everybody's attention. In an attention economy, he is winning that game, right? Like absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some of you in the chat that definitely know Posty. Like I know Lee, know Posty and stuff. But what's your background, mate? Like for the sort of viewers, when did you get into crypto? What drew you to it? What made you stay? What are your big wins, big losses, learnings, all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I'm the typical kind of top buyer of the last cycle. I wouldn't even say I'm class of 2017. Like I was paying attention at that point, but never really had any skin in the game. And then it was like coming into 2018. It was like a new year, new me. And I was like, I'm gonna start investing. I'm gonna break free of the 9-to-5 life, all that kind of stuff. So 2018 comes. I learn about altcoins, buy all sorts of shit. I buy ICX at like $11. I buy Dragon Chain at $4. Like
Dragon
just
Chain,
absolute
yeah.
dog
Disney
shit.
coin.
Like the shit of the shit. And I was actually up for like a day, and I was looking at it, and I was like up like 7% overall on like probably like the 500 quid that I put in there, something like that. Thinking, okay, this is going well. And then there was a dip, and I was like, it'll bounce back. And then that was it from there, to be honest. But I feel like I actually spent a lot of time then actually learning about the industry and realized that I actually want to stick around and not just like be the typical kind of buyer and then leave and then that's the end of it. So I spent quite a lot of time like on the bus to work and coming home from work, just listening to like podcasts, all crypto related stuff, whether it be like fundamentals, technicals, all sorts of shit really, just to try and figure the broader picture out and then see kind of like just wing it and see where I fit in.
Yeah.
Like I remember listening to one podcast about like Bitcoin mining when I knew nothing about mining. I was like, this is actually like blowing my mind. Like I want to understand it, but yeah, I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand the basics now, but it took me a very long time to just wrap my head around like the whole situation.
Yeah.
There was so much information to take in.
It's quite
so
techy, isn't it?
time.
Like instead of buy this
really.
coin, hope the number goes up. It's like, wow, you got this hash rate, you got this, you got this difficulty, blah blah blah. It's like, Christ. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the cost a kilowatt per hour? How much is it going to cost me for the kit? Like, what's the price appreciation or depreciation of Bitcoin? Like, fucking hell, it's starting to get a bit much now. I mean,
and I didn't even want to do the mining. I just wanted to understand it for the sake of understanding it, so I kind of fit in and actually had some kind of knowledge. So when people ask me, the typical normies, friends, family, whoever. I wanted to at least have an answer of some sort.
You mean the exit liquidity? That's what I call them.
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's what they are, yeah. I mean, if I tell them to buy and they don't, and then they ask me if it's a good buy in the middle of a bull market, that's, there's not much more I can do than that.
No.
but yeah, I mean, like, so from that point in 2018, I just continued. I was listening to, what were the podcasts? So I was listening quite a lot to, no, I think it was on YouTube, Crypto Bobby. He's still around now on crypto Twitter. I was watching more of his like tutorials, like setting up on Coinbase and all the usual kind of beginner shit.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the Crypto Street Pod, which
Yeah, I heard
some
it
of
as
you may
well.
have heard of. Yeah, which
Yeah.
was like Dale Whale, Prince, them guys.
Tip your waitress.
I was literally listening to them like every single podcast that come out. The next time I was on a bus, I'd be listening to it. And then I joined Crypto Twitter, and then it was all downhill from there basically. So yeah, stuck around, and I'm glad I did now, especially when I get to view such entertainment as we've seen today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of, I don't really have like a huge loss where I'm like, this has absolutely wrecked me. But like the funniest loss has got to be them kind of first altcoin buys, because I remember like waking up at like 7 a.m. watching some ICX blockchain event, thinking this is it, this is gonna pump it, and it did fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, I think you learn a lot in like your first cycle and experience of that. I had the same with a coin called Crown, CRW, which if I loaded up that chart, it'd make you fucking want to kill yourself, to be honest. Because it's like, it's literally gone from like infinity to it literally went like that, and then just went to like literally zero and just died a death. And that was sort of GG on Crown. But I even set up a master node on Crown, despite the fact that I had
Oh shit.
fuck all idea like how to do it. I had to get one of my techie friends to help me, and that was painful for them and me. And I just watched it, like, I can't even remember how much it was, like 30k or something, just go to basically zero, just like, see ya. But
That actually reminds me of a coin that I bought called Lux, Lux.
oh yeah,
I think it was one of John McAfee's like coins of the day at one point.
yeah, it was.
And I remember seeing stuff around that coin with masternodes. Now, luckily for me, I couldn't afford a masternode at the time, so I never got one, and I'm glad that I didn't, because that would have been a disaster as well.
Yeah, it was Dash, the big masternode coin, wasn't it? Dash was the one that was like that brought masternodes to the mainstream, basically, as like a, this is the new kind of get rich quick way. Like, you just get a masternode for like $1 million, and you're printing, 2k a day off it, easy clap, free money for life. Smart Cash was one of those, actually. But yeah, they were fucking wild times, man. But then
Big passive income plays.
Yeah. How did you change up for like 2020, 2021 then? And like, what did you shift for that? And I guess because we're probably talking to a lot of participants like in the chat who have probably seen their first cycle in terms of 2020, 2021 and are looking at what are the learnings from the first to the second, and how do you kind of make sure you're coming out the other end with, a fat stack as opposed to riding up and back down, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I would say I'm in a slightly different scenario compared to a lot of the people I speak to, at least anyway, because a lot of them did get in 2017 and they actually got to experience some upside at least.
Oh, okay, so you literally bought the top.
Yeah, but so it's a little bit different because
not
many people probably say that they started in a bear market. I guess I was literally starting at the very beginning of the bear market. Yeah. And to be honest, it was a blessing. Like when I look back now, obviously I'm glad I stuck around and it worked out. But when I was going into that bull market in 2020 and 2021, like that was my first bull cycle as well. So like there wasn't too much I could do apart from like make my best guesses and figure stuff out and listen to the people around me who I trust and who could give like decent advice. But I mean, the main thing, like for me, was like if I hit this number, like that's it. There's no, oh, we might go a bit higher, or I'll just wait for a little bit more, or anything. It was like I'm out, like not completely out, but I'm at least taking some off the table. Life-changing money, quote unquote, to a degree in terms of like, everybody's situation is different. But I was like, that's it. 100%. Like I can't. Basically, it got to the point where it was like, if I lost this now, could I forgive myself? And the answer is no, so I need to take something at least.
Yeah, it's good mentality. And that was a fixed portfolio value that you had in your head that you wanted?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I would actually, do it slightly different next time as well. Because obviously if that number never hits and you don't take anything ever, then it's pretty shit. Luckily
Yeah.
for me, that number hit pretty early in the cycle. Like I sold off a lot of Ethereum at like 1.6, 1.7k, from buying at like 100, 200, 300.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it ran up to 3, 4k, whatever it ended up at. And obviously I can look back and think, oh, you know, I could have done better, I could have done this. But at the end of the day, I just don't see it that way. I took my stack and I was happy with it and continued with what I had left and built that back up. So yeah, like I don't have any kind of regrets in that respect.
Yeah, no, that's fair, man. Like the point around holding for an arbitrary number, because I know someone who did the opposite of you, and I'll just say the numbers, because I think he started off with 20, 30k maybe, and he ended up at 500,000, about 500k, and he's like 22, 23, something like that. And he was like, well, look, it's only a 2x to a mil. I'm gonna be a millionaire at this cycle. And it's like, mate, like everything is just like, this is wild. This was like mid-May. I was talking to him and I was like, look,
Yeah,
you need to take some out, like just a deposit for a house, just fucking anything, just do it. Like,
yeah,
100 grand out of 500. If it's gonna go to a million, you're probably not gonna kick yourself for getting 800k out, right? And like, yeah, you're just not. Instead of 800k out instead of a million. And then what happens? Literally 2 weeks later, market's minus 75%. Took fucking nothing out. It's down to like 100k, which is still a huge amount of money and a nice return from what you put in, etc. But fucking hell, you went through some stuff after that, like as you would. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that was a brutal day. Whatever it was, the 19th of May 2021, like absolutely fucking savage day. But yeah, that's like the point, isn't it? Of, well, if you don't take any off and you're trying to hit an arbitrary target, the market doesn't really give a fuck about your arbitrary target, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. Like, imagine if you wanted to hold on for like a little bit more. You know, in your head, you're like, okay, I'll be there in a week, and then something like that happens, like it did in May. And at that point, the panic sets in. I feel like it was the very beginning of April, late March, when I hit my kind of target. So in one way, it worked out pretty well. I didn't have to then go through like the stress of May.
Yeah.
I obviously still felt it, but it was nowhere near as bad as what it could have been. So it worked out okay, but it wasn't planned. I had no fucking idea what was around the corner.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the main
100%.
thing I kind of took from that is that I actually stuck to my plan and didn't kind of move the goalposts, which was hugely important.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. Like, it's really difficult to have a plan and then stick to it, because like a lot of people change their mind and get greedy. And like one of the things that I had on my rune bag, which is one that did like, not to suck myself off, but incredibly well. Was that I did actually genuinely have my final target at $100. So if it hit $100, it was a stupid amount of money, right? But it didn't, obviously. But it I had points from, I think it was about $1.20 or something, $3, $10, and $20, and it was stacked up. And then the last one was $100. So like, if it ran all the way, I was fully out of the position and job done. Just like take it out on the way up, because it's far easier to be like, right, well, I'll treat myself there, etc. And oh look, if that was the top, well, at least I'm like, I'm taking out more than 100x what I put in. And okay, well, I'm riding some of it back down, but fuck it, like that was the plan. And it's so much easier when you've just got levels. And don't get me wrong, I think I sold some at like $9.65 or some shit, because I was like, fuck this is a decent chunk of money. Do you know what I mean? Like, like you said, the great like reflection of, am I going to be pissed off at myself if I lose this? If the answer is yes, then you're probably a little bit overexposed. And if you're checking it quite frequently and all that kind of stuff, like, that's the thing, isn't it, where like, it's just not worth the mental health stress either. Like,
yeah, I think what helped as well was like not selling everything, right? Like being completely out of the market is where then you can cause yourself like stress in terms of, like if it does continue running without you, then you just feel like you've fucked up, even though you've not. So like when I sold a decent amount, I still had plenty of skin in the game to still feel it.
Yeah.
But it just but taking that money out just took the pressure off me in terms of like, at that point I was leaving my job.
Wow.
I'm not back there yet either, so we're
You're doing
doing
something
okay.
right, mate.
We're doing
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
lads.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing, isn't it? Like, so when you first quit, you kind of weren't in a position, or when you were, I guess, getting a bit more into crypto and actually you're working this full-time job and you're doing it on the side, like you then get to a point where you're like, right, I'm going to quit. And did you quit because you got the figure that you wanted, or did you
Yeah,
take the leap
exactly
beforehand?
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. I was relatively sensible, I guess, in that respect.
Yeah, because some
I
people
said,
go balls deep, like, fuck it.
yeah, exactly. But that was never an option for me. I'm just quite I guess, a conservative person for crypto standards, at least.
Yeah, you're not eating it all in Dogecoin and hoping for
Like,
1,000
if you
X.
actually tell this kind of story and how things played out to a family member and a normie, they're gonna think that I'm fucking crazy anyway. But in the crypto world, it's actually not that crazy whatsoever, like compared to a lot of other people.
No. I mean, it's a great story, mate, and it's it's your journey, and everyone's journey is different and stuff. But yeah, you're right. Like most normal people who are working a 9 to 5 job, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. 90% of the world does that. Well, maybe
Yep.
not 90%, but it's pretty bloody high. The vast majority do it. That is life. But sometimes, if you're lucky enough to sort of take the risk at the right time, with the right knowledge and the right investment, etc., and work hard, and you can change that fate. But yeah, like you say, some
100%.
people mortgage their house, go full balls deep, and if you look at Coin Fashions and you read some of those, and like, Christ, you tend to only hear the success stories, don't you? You don't really hear many of the like utter failures and people who took.
And unfortunately, there are more failures. Like if we actually knew about every kind of story, every individual story, I would take a good guess that there's a lot more failures than there is success stories, because that's the way the market works. Like for every winner, a loser, and unfortunately, that is the game we play.
Yeah, it is. It's
so-
PvP. And I think, everyone's like, oh, it's a real PvP market at the moment. It's like, it's always been PvP. Like, that
Yeah.
is.
It just doesn't feel like it when everybody's posting on Twitter about how much money they're making in the middle of a bull market.
Yeah.
Like, who is
yeah,
actually
true.
losing? Nobody.
Yeah,
That's how it
nobody's
feels
losing.
anyway.
Because everything looks like this TRB chart, which is just basically going up only. Like, it's like, just like, at what point, if you press the green button, did you lose today? Like, literally, there's like no pullbacks. Here is probably where you lost the first part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental. That was the entire market during some days on 2020, 2021, like the Tesla day. Tesla has Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like, there you go. Like, I've still got so many, like, memorable days like that, do you know what I mean? Where it's, like, all these little events, whether it's that or Sam, like, sell me everything you've got at $3 and then go fuck off. So good. Cactus, I legit just mortgaged my house to put it in Sol. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Not another one.
We all win when Sailor doesn't sound silly. That is true. You can also be a scammer and search for your Lambo. That is a great career
Yeah.
choice. I mean, I'm tempted to whack an ETH address on my Twitter. I'm not gonna lie. If it's worth 200 grand, I mean, I'll probably sell out for 200 grand. That's just for posting an ETH address. I cannot believe people donated to him. I just cannot believe that must have been his own money that he was sending himself. But anyway, that attention whore.
It's actually crazy. Like if you actually somehow I was looking at some of his tweets, but I ended up looking at some of the replies and stuff, and the amount of dick sucking is just weird.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
I don't understand it whatsoever. Like there's one thing getting attached to like a coin or a project or a founder, maybe, but like this, I just don't get it, man.
I hope to attain that level of absolute cringe lord worshippers over the next several years on crypto Twitter. That's my goal.
You need to up your cringe game then.
I know. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna take photos of my car and be like, right, guys, it's 10 to 10, and I'm just going on a drive. I've just made 20 grand by logging TRB on this pump. Here's the system that I used. You know, blah blah blah.
Here's the Photoshop evidence.
Yeah, on a Bybit demo account. Classic. So in 2021, like, you said that sort of you held some ETH and you held some other stuff, and you trade as well, don't you? You swing trade on like higher time frames typically, as opposed to scalping out rotations on the 1 second chart like some dumbasses do, like me. Like, what's your strategy going forward then? Like, how are you approaching like the next? I don't know, the next couple of months? Are you in any trades at the moment? Or the next year, 2 years, 3 years? What's your kind of outlook?
Yeah,
I mean, share
like,
your screen if you want. I can flip over to the Zoom meeting. So I haven't even talked about this chart in front of me.
No, I mean, with the trades at the moment, I've actually been trading lower time frames a little bit more, to be honest, just because I've been really focused on playing stuff level to level.
Yeah.
In terms of the more swing stuff, yeah, I've been actually very slowly loading up like long-term bags, but I mean, you could call it a swing trade, you could call it investing, whatever you want to call it, but these are bags that I'm looking to hold into 24, 25.
What's that?
But when
Is
it comes
like
to
Solana or low caps?
Yeah, mostly for now it's mostly like Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, just the more, I guess, solid higher cap stuff. Now, and this is kind of one of my learnings, I guess, from the last few years as well. So I remember in like, I think it was probably 2019, when I was obviously like 12, 18 months in, I was starting to get familiar with crypto and a bit more educated. And I was like buying like, okay, this is my like list of 3 high caps, and I'm going to buy 3 mid caps, and I'm going to buy 3 low caps. And like that didn't last very long at all, because I realized like there's a thing called narratives in crypto. And rather than just holding some coins and just sitting there and I'm kind of waiting, I thought, okay, maybe I'm better off actually just playing the trends that are actually active that we can see. So like, I think the first time I really did that was like DeFi summer, and it paid off pretty well. And that was kind of like the start of where things started to go really well for me personally, at least. So at that point I was like, okay, I need to kind of pay more attention, do this more often, and just make sure that I'm actually up to speed and in the loop on like kind of what's hot and what's not.
Yeah. Do you see what narratives, or do you have any sort of insights to what narratives you think are hot like at the moment, apart from like cartel coins? Because for me, there's no like obvious narrative right at this moment.
See, this is the thing, isn't it? Yeah, because even if a narrative builds up, there's no saying in like the current market how long it's going to last, because there's no new money like flooding into the market like we've previously seen to really pump narratives, like we've seen with I mean, we've seen it with Axie and the whole gaming thing, like in 21, was it? We've seen it with like the Metaverse plays as well. Like Metaverse had a little run towards the end of that 21 cycle as well. But when there's new money flooding in, it just makes it so much easier for a narrative to just go above and beyond what you would kind of expect, I guess.
Yeah, true.
I mean, recently, like I've been looking, like since Unibot, there was a few Telegram bot plays. Then rev sharing started to become this like mini narrative as well.
Yeah, I think rev sharing.
And then
was
also
quite
obviously
a decent one.
And then you have Friendtech. So then obviously there was some plays around Friendtech that did pretty well. But again, it's like, how long do these things last? Because even the interest in Friendtech right now has started to drop off a little, I would say, at least.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think you've got to have a huge dollar amount portfolio to build up the points. So it's kind of like the classic, all right, you've got a lot of money, you've stuck it into it, great. Well, you then get the rewards, as opposed to
exactly.
You know, which is fair enough. If you're taking the risk, you should get the reward, right? But still, like as a newer participant, you might think, well, I don't really want to yeet like 20% of my portfolio balance into this.
Exactly.
Like it's a bit too risky for an airdrop that's super speculative, etc. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. The Unibot narrative was really good, and some low caps absolutely printed. And I think one of the things that I love about this space is not the space has to force a narrative necessarily, but people are perpetually looking for one. They want to gamble,
Yeah.
and as soon as you give them something that is like, this is new and exciting, everyone's like, well, this is my 1000x. This is my I'm going to put $10,000 in this. I'm going to make 10 million, and I'm going to fucking retire. Let's fucking go. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to find that coin, and as long as something comes out that looks semi-legit and is a new/fresh idea, it's usually worth a punt.
Yeah, exactly. And the word you say there is everybody wants to gamble, right?
Yeah.
and that falls into the narrative actually of how gambling has done so well this year as well, like Rollbit, of course, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that is one narrative that I think actually has legs and will continue, just because of the pure personalities in the space and what we naturally do is fucking gamble.
And I think this is the thing. Sorry, I was cut you up there. Okay.
No, I was just gonna say, like I do think that there are going to be some new coins as well in that gambling scene that are going to do pretty well running into this next cycle, if we get a next cycle, of course. But that's the dream, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think we'll get, like, this is where some people are super bullish and they're like, I can't wait to print more million X's and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, my personal view is I don't think you're ever going to have the stars align like we did in 2020, 2021, which is the discovery of a new asset class, the world being locked down, money being printed at astronomically low levels of interest. Now, I know that sounds like inflationary macroeconomic bullshit, but fundamentally, I saw more Range Rovers driving around, at that point in time than I have ever in my life, and it's because money was free. Money was, you borrow it at 1%. People were putting things like that on their fucking mortgages. Like, oh, I can afford a Range Rover because it's 1%. I'll just stick it on my mortgage. Like, all these kind of stupid decisions by people who just can't fundamentally afford what they've, now acquired. Like, that kind of tells you that the balance between, like, risk on and risk off has kind of ebbed massively towards, well, everyone's fucking risk on because money is cheap. Everything's just going up and everyone wants that risk. And as soon as interest rates start rising, we're going to move to that other end of the cycle where everyone wants to sell their property, so house prices go down. The interest rates to fund them are going to just cripple the rental economy and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, businesses are going to lose people, yada, yada, yada. And it's just, what point of the cycle are we at? Like, and crypto had a massive discovery phase at this point in a global macro cycle. And I could be completely wrong, and I hope I am, but I just don't think it will ever be that easy. Do I think that we'll have another bull run? Absolutely. Do I think we will smash all-time highs at some point? Yeah, probably, because they are going to go back to printing money at some point, right? And there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Like, I can't see how Bitcoin ever falls out of a narrative. And I think we will have some good, strong narratives again at some point. I thought SocialFi would be one of them. But obviously the way Friendtech did it, it made it really difficult to gamble on unless you actually got involved. Like, if they'd launched a coin, I would have put money back into crypto and into the ecosystem to buy that coin, because I think it would have just been like, bang, it doesn't matter if you bought it at $1 or $2, it would have gone to $100 type thing. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone would have just been like bored and gambling on it. But it's that perpetual opportunity. It's to lose money as well, right? Let's not try and just give a glorious overview of the market.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing is as well, though, right? If you look at obviously 2017 and then 2021, in terms of the multipliers from bottom to top for even Bitcoin or anything, they are slowing down, and that is normal in a maturing market.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing obviously like BlackRock and the boys turning up now, and the boys, yeah. Now they're obviously here to make some money. Like, why wouldn't they be? That is what they do. But the thing is, when you've got that much money on the table, you really don't need, a 3x, a 5x, a 10x. They're not looking for that. It's a very different game then. And that's why I think that, the people who are calling for like 500k Bitcoin in in the next kind of couple of years, if these 4 year cycles continue, I really do hope they're right, but I just really can't see it. And that's not being like a bear, that's just being, for me, realistic. Um, as you can see on your screen now, like that's
Yeah,
just the way
yeah. It's
the
the
way
law of
that it
diminishing
goes, and
returns, isn't it? Fundamentally,
exactly. There's
it's
still money to be made,
yeah.
but like you say, it's just not going to be as easy as it once was.
No, I think there is a case of being early. Like, there's a great quote from the film Margin Call, isn't it? Like, there's three ways to make money. You cheat, you're early, or you're the smartest. And it's like he's like, I'm not a cheater. It's like, so we're gonna be first. So fuck it, sell everything. Like that's it. You're early. And genuinely being early in new narratives and trends, even like you've seen people, turn what was it, $78 or something on Pepe, and it was like 2 million at the top. And the guy who did Bald, I mean, I think that was a bit dodgy, but I think he did a couple of K,
You
didn't
mean
he?
Sam?
Yeah, yeah, Sam. But there was a guy, wasn't it? He did Bald, like put like 2K in or something. It was like 5 million or something, like 3 days later,
Yeah.
and like you just don't hear those stories anywhere else, really, in any other kind of markets. Do you know what I mean?
I think the nearest we got to that was probably the whole, was it GameStop and all that stuff that was going on
Yeah,
around the
yeah, true.
COVID time. Like
Yeah,
that was kind of big headline news because like the stock market obviously is not anything like the crypto market, so that was probably like a big deal for them. Whereas for us, it was kind of like
yeah.
just
This
like
is
another shitcoin, right?
yeah, this is a normal pump and dump. They're not even doing it right. Come on, boys.
Yeah,
One
you're gonna
last.
do it right.
Cactus says one last cycle, retail onboarding and spot ETF approved for ETH and BTC. After then, Bitcoin too big to see large returns. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I mean,
Yeah,
like
same.
again, like I think there's probably one more cycle in it, but the size of the cycle is where there's more discussion to be had, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
for people to think that it's going to replicate 2021 is very optimistic in my eyes. But
yeah.
yeah,
I think there's gonna be, if you can trade and we get back to a risk on market and you're pretty good at, if you can capture something like even like a reasonable part of TRB today, right, you are going to be absolutely fine when markets go risk on again at some point, which they will, because markets are cyclical. That's why they are called market cycles. And like for me, this is like, they call it a bear market grind. They call it a bear market grind for a reason. It's not meant to be easy. Do you know what I mean? I just,
yeah. If it was easy, everybody'd be here and everybody'd be
yeah.
winning.
And people aren't. People are getting bored. They're getting demotivated. They don't want to try and catch this one trade a week. That this is probably like my bread and butter for this week, and then that might be it, right?
Yeah,
I might not get another decent trade this entire week. I might be sat here looking at this fucking spaghetti for another 30, 40 hours this week, and I might take 0 trades. But that's part of it, Sadly,
yeah,
that's part of the grind. And I just think that like, you can either be developing an edge and you can be developing either trading, or you can develop your fundamentals, like you say, because there are ways to use fundamental knowledge in a trading context or just an investing context, if that's what you want to do, and kind of mix those two together. Because I mean, I did both. I traded and I invested, and my investment bags
yeah,
did brilliantly at some points. My trading portfolio did amazingly at other points. Do you know what I mean? Breakout trades were just incredible, just real simple, like meme triangles that just gave you like a free 10% pretty much
yeah,
every time. Like that setup, or previous all-time high. I'll actually draw it right. Previous all-time high, blast through it, retest. That was like, that's where you buy. Like every chart in 2020, 2021, that pattern like just worked. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think if I had £1 for every time I drew that fucking chart and posted it on Twitter, I could have retired off that alone. But yeah, it's quite funny, isn't it? So what's your what trades are you in at the moment? I will
I'm
skim over.
actually flat. I'm actually flat at the moment. So I closed up a few trades when I went to Singapore, which was just short of 2 weeks ago now, and I was there for pretty much a week.
Nice.
So I'll just pull up. Hold on, let
I
me
was gonna say
let me share the screen.
I'll share the Zoom meeting, like the super secret Zoom meeting. I've
Here
probably
we
just
go.
doxed all my stuff.
It says I'm screen sharing.
Let Boomer Charlie just 1 minute, caller.
Come on, you've got this. Don't crumble.
I'm not crumbling, mate. I got this. We got this, boys. Whoosh. It's very small. What about that?
There we go. That's what people need to see.
What? What was that? Oh my god. Surely this is not. Surely it was working. We fucking tested this before we came on. God, I hate technology. I hate technology so much. Boomers, look. Alright, boys. Alright.
I mean, look, the chat's not important. We can.
It is. It's very important. I'm just fixing the source right now, my friend. You bear with me 1 moment. I'm just gonna sing or something, put some on hold music on for people. What is wrong with me, man? I'm like, this is fucking on there.
I mean, as I was saying anyway, I'm actually not in an open trade at the minute. When I went to Singapore, I closed up quite a lot of, free trades I think I had open, because I knew that I wouldn't really have time to be paying them as much attention to them, which was not a good idea, as I was probably drunk for like 85% of the trip. Which, yeah, it's probably a fair reflection. Cactus probably vouched for me there. But yeah, then I got back. I took a long I think it was on Friday at around 26.7, because I thought then we might actually build some momentum to run it back towards the ETF scan pump that we've seen at 28k. But then that got stopped out anyway, so I called it on that, and I'm just sat flat now, waiting for something more to present itself.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I was on the other side of your trade. Let me just check that I'm unmuted. Apologies about that. Yeah, I'm so annoyed. We literally practiced that. But anyway, we move on. Yeah, I basically shorted up here. I took some drawdown here, and I'm still in that short, and that was kind of in theory, my compound entry there, but I never took it, so I'm still sat in this short. And yeah, that's kind of it for me. I'm basically short BTC and long alts, which is basically my perpetual stay anyway, because I look at this, I look for what is in play today, what is literally going out of the fucking box, and I don't need to be a genius to say that TRB, which has been in play for a long time, is actually, WLD is having a bit of a move right now, but this is broken out of the entire market. The entire market's doing fuck all, and TRB is moving, so go trade that.
Yeah.
It's not particularly complicated, and to be honest with you, I was looking for TRB to kind of break out of this and do one of these dodgy scam pumps and then come back and reverse. But I mean, you stick an EMA or something on this and it's literally never lost it. There's no real reason to exit the trade, even now. I mean, now it's actually starting to distribute a tiny bit up here, but we didn't close under a 5-minute EMA, and it's just a 33 EMA, I think it is. Real simple stuff, nothing complicated, but that's a strong rotation. Everyone is trading this, and if you literally did a simple, it's broken out of spaghetti on a strong move, follow it up, trend follow move, what have you got there? 11%, 21%, lovely.
It's actually very similar to some of the trades that I've played over the last couple of months in terms of coins that have had huge pumps, like Bitcoin Cash, Rune.
Yeah.
And I never really caught the moves up, but then I just looking at them and looking at the volume and thinking, this shit's gonna find its way back down. Similar to Aptos earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
Because that was another one where, and I actually put a chat out, I tweeted it earlier today, and I was like, I'm just hope there's somebody out there somewhere who has shorted the top and they're still holding it now 8 months later. I just hope that person is somewhere in the world.
Yeah, it's just
But
admiring.
like they always, especially obviously in a bear market where not a lot's going on, money's just rotating from one coin to the next. So for that to continue its upward trend after such a move, I think you're just either a long-term bag holder or lying to yourself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they always eventually like retrace to the origin of the move, and that's kind of what I was looking for when I was playing Bitcoin Cash and Rune. Now Rune actually pumped again pretty recently, but I still think it's a scam pump. I still think it's got room for some more downside before the end of the year.
Whoa,
And
some of us have still got
right?
bags. Some of us have still got room bags. You take
Oh,
that
sorry,
back, my friend.
it's going to $100, mate.
Yeah.
$100, yeah, minimum.
Guaranteed. Happy days. I'll DM you for a refund if it doesn't. I mean, yeah, it's had a couple of nice moves, to be fair, but similarly to like Link, it's not managed to really break out of this like accumulation range for whatever this is, like a long time.
I mean, exactly. It's all relative to the time frames, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was playing these things on like the 4 hour, the 8 hour stuff like that, holding them for a few days, a week or so. Then when you really zoom out and look at the bigger picture,
yeah,
completely different story.
It's fucking depressing, isn't it? Because I remember the CRV chart and I was like, fuck, and I was down here. I was playing like CRV rotations whenever it was, like a few weeks ago. Like, yeah, it was this price action here. So I was playing, rotations in that, thinking, oh, I fucking like nailed most of this rotation, like absolutely happy days. And then you zoom out the chart and you go like, what rotation? What am I even fucking trading? and I hope that we
you've got a problem.
Yeah, I hope we dwarf some of these charts in time. Sui has been on my list actually as one that looks I keep waiting for some form of relative strength on. I'm like basically looking for let's peep this. I'm basically looking for this yellow line to start showing me some form of relative strength. And it actually isn't too bad now, but I don't really want to trade it while it's in like this beta band of like the entire market. I wanted to actually do this. If it was up here, I'd probably long it, bizarrely. I would rather long some form of strength and some form of move than just try and place a random bet down here. But Sui's kind of like Aptos and stuff, where way back when, in its first like listing cycle, it lists, doesn't really do much, fucking dies off, and then actually you get an absolutely killer move. Like, I don't think we're going to get something like that, right? Because that timed in nicely with FTX crash and then a bit of ranging and then Bitcoin breaking out of a range and so on and so forth. And actually contextually the market was in a much worse place there than it is now. But yeah, Sui's the one that I'm really waiting for that rotation for. And I'll obviously play whatever the fucking chart tells me to do, right? But
funnily enough, I'm actually looking at something kind of similar with AB.
Ooh.
So I was, again, like a newer coin for the year, at least for this year.
Yeah. I got a lot of fucking drawings on this one, Jesus.
Look, we're obviously in a very clear downtrend at this point. I don't expect anything else, especially with the valuations like these two.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of looking at it like, can we see some further downtrend continuation? Maybe run it down towards like 50 cent, something like that. Would be like somewhere I'd be actually interested in loading up for longer term bags at that point. But otherwise, there's really no signs of strength until we actually reclaim something around 90. Anything, that kind of area, start to see some solid closes, daily, weekly closes above that level. And then maybe we can talk about like some kind of uptrend. How long it lasts, I have no idea. But like until then, it's very hard to put together like a bullish argument, and quite similar with a lot of alts at the minute, to be honest. Like, I'm not exactly optimistic for altcoins going into Q4 in general. Of course, there's always some outliers, but I really need to see like a shift in the charts to put together a decent argument for it.
Yeah, it's good though, because that's similar to me, right? I'd rather make sure I'm turning up to the right party and be slightly late than turn up early at the wrong one. Like, I love that expression because it's just, I don't want to be buying something that from a market structure perspective looks like this, because I'm just trying to time this, and that's really fucking difficult to do. Whereas if I've at least got this, and I can see that there has been a significant shift in market structure, then I've got something. I've even just got an invalidation down here, right? Like, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but I know fundamentally that something has shifted in that market, and yeah, it might just do this and might just die off, whatever. But there's something, not just fucking brutal downtrend. And I don't know. I see people trading stuff like this, and I don't understand it myself. But a lot of people are quite happy just taking punts at levels and doing the classic RR tool for Twitter, I guess, and being like, oh, there you go, let's go. And I never understand people's trade entry reasons, so I could post this on Twitter now and be like, Sui, and then everyone will just forget about it, right? No one will hold me to account for that if it fucking dies a death and just goes, but fine. Like, but I want to see some strength, and then I'll enter. My average entry, if I actually took this trade, would probably be up here. It'd probably be like literally at this like resistance, basically, by the time I got on, in terms of like it actually started standing out. But I'd rather play there on relative strength than anything else. But yeah,
I think as well, like this kind of conversation reminds me of like how things have changed for me as well, in terms of like getting into positions as an investor.
Yeah.
Because in like 2018, 2019, I would just buy shit for the sake of buying it because it was like down, I guess. Like, it was down 5%. Oh, good discount, let's buy it. Then we actually start to understand a bit about the charts and just understand basics, right, in terms of like market structure, looking at the higher time frames and just painting a picture of what looks good and what looks bad.
Yeah.
And that just gives you such an edge to the end. And like you said, like, you'd rather be late to the right party, and that's exactly what it's about in terms of like getting those entries, and not exactly being like a TA wizard or a trading guru, but just having some understanding of like how to better your entries. And it's more about not wasting time in positions and being an underwater bag holder more than anything, right? It's like just making sure your timing is a lot closer to some kind of upside, I guess, rather than just
100%.
like averaging in on every huge dip. Like, oh, this is high time frame support, let me just buy now. When actually that's just the start of it.
Yeah,
and,
contextually, it could be quite a shit trade. I mean, the thing that you said earlier about having numbers that you want to cash out at, it's absolutely brilliant. And recognizing, I guess, when things basically start looking like shit, because ultimately, like, pretty much every altcoin, or the chances of you holding an altcoin that doesn't look like this at some point, is pretty low, right? Like,
yeah,
it's, I don't know, there's not many altcoins that perpetually hit new all-time highs every cycle, right? There's like Ethereum, there's Doge, and there's probably a few others, and obviously like Bitcoin, but in terms of like consistently hitting new all-time highs cycle after cycle, like, I always bring up the Joule chucks. I actually love Joule. I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was a good way to involve yourself in DeFi, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a shill, by the way, but you know what I mean. Like, it had a really good run to the upside, which this chart doesn't capture. And then it just fucking ran and bled to death, and it's down 99%. But, like, pretty much all
nothing
altcoins
escapes
will.
the bear market.
Yeah, nothing escapes it. And also, like, the chances that you've got one of those coins that is going to be, here next cycle and doing well next cycle, pretty low. I mean, Bored Apes is another good example, right? Like, that was such a fucking mania. I loaded up the ape chart accidentally the other day, and I was like, Jesus fuck.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
27, the wick of 27 down to like $1. Like, Jesus Christ. People were holding this as the future of France. Yeah, exactly. That's a blue chip, raised millions of dollars, had like loads of celebrity endorsement. Didn't like Bieber and Eminem have one? And like all these, like, fuck, that is like permeating the peak of celebrity, A-list. I just, don't marry your bags, I guess.
Here's an interesting thing for you as well. So there's been a lot of talk recently, hasn't there, about NFTs and how dead they are and everything, and you start to get them kind of bottom feelings when you see all this stuff, especially like in the mainstream. So I've started to wear, and this is also because of the time of year now getting a little bit cooler, I've started to wear my BAYC hoodie again now.
Have you actually? You've got a BAYC hoodie.
Yeah.
Right, we've got
Well,
in the stream
technically
here.
it's
See ya.
Technically, it's a Macy hoodie. Technically,
Oh, okay.
from when I had my shitty little monkey. But as soon as I get a comment on that hoodie, somebody telling me how shit Bored Ape is, or telling me that I'm an idiot for even wearing the hoodie, that is my buy signal. Then I will actually maybe not a base C, but at least an NFC buy signal.
Yeah, so if you see Posty about knocking his MAYC hoodie, tell him a shit, then get him to print the bottom of the NFT bear market.
Pretty much.
That's hilarious.
Bitboy marks the bottom of crypto. I will mark the bottom of the NFTs. That's how it works.
Yeah, let's do it. Doesn't Ape have some of the worst tokenomics? Brutal unlocks? Yeah, everyone's selling their Ape to buy hoodies, mate. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's just common sense, really.
Yeah, one day we will return to Monkey, keep in mind. That's true, Dominic, my friend. That is it's definitely true. Oh, we've got a question from Leowin. Favourite British cuisine?
Beans on toast, mate, all day.
That's a great answer, to be fair. It's got to be beans if you're British.
Beans on anything.
Just beans. Just beans. Dude, just get a fork, open the tin, straight in.
I mean, in terms of what I'm actually most proud of as a Brit, it's got to be an English breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
that's actually got some credibility behind it, rather than like I don't know. I don't even want to say because it's all just so bad. But
I don't know, Yorkshire pudding,
At least
Sunday roast. Sunday roast is, I think Sunday
Yeah,
roasts are
you know,
quite a good British
do.
export.
yeah, I would agree on that as well. We've got breakfast and dinner boxed off there. A little bit of fish and chips in the middle for lunch.
Yeah,
Job's
exactly.
a good one. Yeah.
Nice hearty food, do you know what I mean? Like, can't go wrong with that. I'm surprised you missed out
Yeah.
like Yorkshire puddings. Yeah, Sunday roast is a classic. Yes, Rangtang. See, yeah, you just can't go wrong with that. Charlie, I'm in a CFX short right now. Look.
Let's have a look. Pull up the chat.
Yeah, I'm doing. I'm going. I'm old. I told you this. We're going very slowly. You're in a CFX short. From where, my friend? Where is your short entry? Bell. Thanks. Is he Spotted Dick? I mean, I can't help but notice the bell came after Spotted Dick. Chicken tikka masala is an English classic. I wouldn't really call it an English export, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. But maybe. Where are you short from? Hush hush. Hush 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 hush. It's invented in Birmingham. Is it? Nah, it's not, surely. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm walking on getting cancelled territory here. Talking about
be careful.
the ethnic origins of what is it, tikka masala. I don't want to claim like a colonist. The Brits invented it. 0.1288.
I mean, on the topic of Indian food, and I hope Cactus is still hanging around in the chat because he's gonna like this one, because we was in Italy in July and we went for an Indian. Oh, was it in Portugal? No, maybe it was. Oh, it was Portugal. Maybe the trip before in May. So we went for an Indian, and we asked for chips with the Indian, half rice, half chips. They were so offended. And it was like, no, we don't do chips. We don't do chips. Like, that is not.
Yeah, that's not an option. Get out.
It was not an option. I think we ended up getting the chips, but they were not happy about it.
That's fair. So what do you think about this then, this short entry? What are you doing, Post? Are you holding it?
Is the entry the red?
Yeah, entry's the red.
Oh, okay. Not bad, not bad.
Are you
Yeah. Do you know why I like it? Because there's such a clear invalidation level for me. Like, we've a pretty good risk reward there. Like, if you're wiping out them highs, to be fair, for me, even lower than that. I'm trying to like find them. Like, it's pretty small on my screen. 2 secs. Let me zoom in.
hang on, there you go. Look at that. See, it's not just you that has the small
Yeah, just that little tiny screen in the top left corner. I would probably go for the highs of the. Trying to see the number. I'm trying to read that. Probably
The,
is it
the
30?
inefficiency on the left, he says. What inefficiency are you on about? I don't trade like this down here. I don't trade like inefficiencies and all that crap, mate. I just trade spaghetti. Is that what you're saying? Is that your trade
Keep
setup?
it simple. Yeah, I'd probably say something close. My stop would be a little bit higher, just above probably them highs that you marked out with the green box. But I still think the risk reward's pretty favourable there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
something like that. I'd
It's
say something like that.
it's definitely like broken a meme diagonal, and in terms of market structure on a lower time frame, it's like it's quite nice, isn't it? It's definitely like
Yeah.
rounding down in terms of
It
momentum
does
as
remind
well.
me of quite a few of the trades that I've taken with like Rune and Bitcoin Cash over the summer. It's a very similar kind of style, I guess. Pretty decent run, and then a
Look
breakdown
at
of the strength just slowing down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like everything just seems to be kind of in your favour, really. It's quite nice, nice
Hold it.
entry. I mean, I'd be interested
Hold
to
it,
see
brother.
what's
Hold it.
going on the low time frame, but I mean, unlike Posty, I'm not going to give you financial advice, but you can DM for a refund if it doesn't go your way. But yeah, I mean, I'd just be like, I'd probably be banking it here if it kind of came up, and I'd just be like, fuck it, I'm out, small dub. But yeah, any form of like reclaim and move up, then I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't. I would be like, this is either the trend break or it's not, and I'd be probably stopping at break even now, like absolute minimum. But that's because I'm a pussy, and because like, yeah, my theory would be that momentum is dying and that this is a kind of trend reversal, at least the range lows. I'd probably be a bit more aggressive in my take profits, but that's me.
I don't think
like,
there's anything wrong with that, like in current market conditions, all right, when things are so choppy and
yeah,
you
that's
know,
the thing, isn't it? Like,
and this kind of falls into my theory of playing level to level, and obviously I've got a lot of props to give to SC for that kind of stuff as well, because he's the
yeah,
one
same.
who put it on my radar in the first place. But in terms of like just playing it level to level, it just removes so much stress as well.
Yeah,
Rather than trying to like you're basically like at a level of support, and you're like praying that support breaks down just so you can TP lower down. Like, why not TP, get out the trade, and then just re-enter on a breakdown?
yeah. Just get another trade. There's
It just
always
makes
another
so much
trade.
more sense. Exactly.
It sounds
Yeah, it
like that
doesn't
was one of
have
your
to be.
lessons as well. Like, there's always something else. The market's kind of always going to move at
Yeah,
some
exactly.
point, right? Like, doesn't matter if it's
And,
today,
and even
tomorrow.
even with some of the big plays, right? Like even of this year, the Rollbit Unibot, I didn't catch any of them, but I didn't sit there crying about it because there's always money to be made. Like yeah, I was a bit pissed and a bit salty at times, especially whenever everybody was plastering it all over the timeline.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, look at Unibot now, mate. You look at it, the retrace that we've seen over the summer. People just, I think, like when the hype is so high, people just forget that this stuff does eventually come back down.
Yeah. I mean, that is, absolutely brutal. Like, if you were, like, finally convinced to get in, I think that's why, like, the risk reward of being early is so good. Like, genuinely so good. Like, 80% down from the highs. I mean, alright, hopefully you didn't ape the Pico top, even if you aped somewhere in this distribution, right? Even at, like, this low here, you're down 58%. Like, fuck me. And that's a nice, reasonable play in terms of market structure. You've had some moves up, we've pulled back, we've held. Okay, right, well, I get on board. But actually, if you're holding, like, yeah, you're fucked. Absolute savagery. I think that's... I'm very much in a rotational mindset of get in, get out, take your profit. Like, I've played some low caps. I've done okay on some. I've done poorly on others. Some have gone to literally zero. That's kind of part of the game. With those, but like, yeah, I'm quite a pussy in my trading at the moment. I'm not sure when the last real big sort of quote unquote swing I had. I mean, there was like the intraday on the XRP day actually, when the SEC case got thrown out, and all that went like XRP 2x in a day, didn't it? I remember I longed it at like 0.8 or something stupid, and rode it to like 0.86 just wherever it was, like up here, like on a Paragon stream. Like I literally longed it there and sold it here. Like, do you know what I mean? But I had longed it down here somewhere and ridden it up like most of the way. But yeah, like that, absolutely nuts day. And look at it, fully retraced that entire move. Like absolutely, if you did not take profits, even if you were the first person to enter on that news, you got stopped out here. You got absolutely punished. Like, yeah, it's fucking nuts. So what's your big bets then going forward?
They're the shorts I actually really like to play. That is like an ideal short for this year in terms of like the way that some of them have played out with them big moves and then just the full retrace back to the origin of the move. Like I really, really like just playing them just on a level to level basis.
Yeah. I like parabolas. Everyone who's seen me on stream will say will laugh at me because I go on about them all the time. But that to me is like the proper human emotion, and then like a big spike up at the top that just gets rejected. You get a lower high, or you just get a bleed out. You've got your invalidation here, so you know it's a wider sort of position, and your sizing's a bit different. Obviously, you're not trying to do like be super aggressive, but like you've literally got like this on parabolic moves, and yeah, that preferably with this, like that's my favorite short setup of all time. Just doing that. It works so often at the end of parabolic runs, especially when you're watching lower time frame and you can see the kind of struggle here, and then it just bleeds out. And like you say, like it's great to ride up the long. They usually play out quite quickly as the massive upside, but if you can catch a short like that, particularly when you get something like this.
Yeah, I was going to say I actually feel so much more comfortable with a trade when the invalidation level is clearer than the target. Like for me, if I see a super clean invalidation level, like it just fills me with, obviously the risk reward is still there, but like that just fills me with so much confidence because just knowing when that trade is wrong rather than just dropping it in anywhere just to make a nice risk reward.
Yeah, true.
You know, it just fills me with a lot more confidence, and it just makes me feel a lot more comfortable with the trade, knowing that, you know, I actually understand the reasoning behind it, and I understand where the idea is just like not right. Yeah. Of course, you're still going to get the odd wick, and you're going to get done over.
Oh yeah,
from time to time. But yeah. that's just trading, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I sit there and I'm like, you know, it's happened loads of times, right? Like, well, not loads, but you long a coin and then instantly, like you long here and then instantly it just goes fucking whoosh, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like I've just made like 10% in 5 minutes. Like you just happen to buy the picosecond before, and then 3 weeks later you'll do exactly the same and you'll short here, and then it'll do that and you'll go, fuck, I just got blown out. And like they tend to happen in like equal amounts over a long enough period of time. But yeah, like that's the joy of this market, right? You can long it and suddenly Bell tweets something, they're insolvent. But you know, like absolutely fucked. But yeah, we'll chat about Bell quickly, and then we'll see if anyone's got any questions. If anyone's got any questions or whatever, fire them in the chat now, and we'll get to them, and then we'll think about running it back down. I will just grab Posty's Twitter as well, because you guys better be following him. Otherwise, I'm gonna check each one of you individually. There you go, chat. Well, yeah, what do you think of Belle? And not the Disney princess. This wonderful chart in front of us. If you can see it.
Zoom back out for me. Yeah, I can see it.
This is kind of one of the coins we were talking about before, isn't it? Like, proper...
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
That is a perfect illustration of the altcoin, like, momentum just dwindle, right? Like, look at that for, like, diminishing returns. The classic bouncing ball momentum piece, right? Like, I love it. That is exactly what we've kind of been talking about in terms of, like, these runs.
Piece of art, some would say.
Yeah. I drew this earlier. I am an artist, obviously. You can tell by the way I squiggle on charts. Yeah, thanks, mate. But yeah, I mean, what's your thought process here? What's your take?
Maybe drop it back onto the 4 hour. I mean, it really depends now on this candle close here because I like at the bottom there we've got like a range low and then it actually wicks below them lows. So that for me is like, okay, yeah, that's a decent sign that we could see some further upside. But I'm just wary that we actually start to range there in between, like, I'm taking a guess, but I'm going to say around 56 to 62, something like that.
Yeah.
And if we can actually break out of that range, then I think probably about 62. Yeah, so if this is actually a breakout, then I'd fancy some upside, probably more towards like 70.
Yeah.
That high there is looking pretty good for like a run up. But again, I'd be doing it level to level. I'd be jumping out there and then just waiting to see what kind of unfolds.
Yeah.
If you go a bit, something. Yeah, and if you put some range lows on that bad boy as well, at around 56, 57, something like that. Yeah.
Bit messy, isn't it? Somewhere around there. Kind of these highs here and under, but yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's just a continuation play. Like, you want to see it. Like, I'd be, like, stop under here and just I'd be targeting this, personally. I quite like the notion that actually you've got, like, a huge meme diagonal, which I don't really trade, but, you know, this, if it starts actually breaking out of that, probably draw it a little bit better like that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if there's a place for it to start and break out of a downtrend, like we were talking about market structure earlier, like, this is actually that change in market structure. You've got that lower high, but then you've got that higher low here, which is actually a change in high time frame market structure. So I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is with the meme diagonals there, like, I actually don't mind them, but only as like confluence with the idea that I've already got in mind, right?
I'm just using it as like you say, just a confluence point of actually there's probably a few things here that add up to pretty reasonable, and it's had a reasonable move today, you know, compared to the rest of the market. So it's an outlier in terms of strength, which I like.
I mean, I've never actually realized before how difficult it is to try and explain a trade or talk through a chat without actually being able to draw something on the screen.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've said to TradingView,
was a lot more difficult than it. Yeah.
I said to TradingView, I need them to just delete all paintings, all squiggles, because I just squiggle. I squiggle all the time. But yeah, like, it is difficult, and I'm sorry I messed up that. We did rehearse it, so I apologise to you and the stream. But it worked when I rehearsed it. What can I say? What can I say? But yeah,
Parrot Boomers struggling.
Yeah, well, it's just me that's struggling, to be fair. It's not you. But yeah, unless there's anything else in the chat, boys and girls. Have you got any questions, any comments, any queries, anything you want to add, Posty? I've chucked in the chat where they can find you.
No, nothing from me that I can think of. I appreciate you having me on.
It's been good, mate. Yeah, it's been a nice laugh. You can you're welcome to come anytime.
Oh, I got the green pass to come back on. That's good.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Just don't wear your MAYC jumper or hoodie.
Next time, I'll turn the webcam on. I'll be sat there in the hoodie.
Well, next time I'll come on yours and I'll play golf with you, and you can see what an absolute redacted golf player looks like. Maybe pitch and putt.
We'll make it happen. Mini golf.
Yeah, mini golf and a beer. That sounds more like my game.
That sounds better, doesn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it does. Cool. All right, mate. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you everyone else for turning up, asking questions, and hopefully you've all got something from that. You gave him a follow on X. Didn't know the guy, but sounds smart. That's because he is. You know, he's done very well for himself.
Well,
he's much younger than me, so
smart. I guess. Yeah, there's one word for it.
Well, look, mate. If you can extract value out of this market, and you've ran a portfolio up, you were sensible enough to take some out. You changed your life with it. You quit your 9 to 5. That's a fucking great success story, mate, and you should be proud of it. So, well done.
No, I do appreciate that. I also appreciate Liz's comment there. He's getting good at golf. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
Slowly but surely.
It's like trading. It takes a long time.
Yeah, true. All right. everyone, make sure you follow Posty. And until next week, we'll love you and leave you all. And see you soon. Au revoir.
Cheers, everyone.